I recently changed the front and rear pads to my 2010 Honda Accord Crosstour. I put that on YouTube to help out anybody who needed it because when I was looking for some help myself, I couldn't find any reference to the Accord Crosstour. All the references were to the Honda Accord because they're very similar vehicles, but they're not exactly the same. Now, actually, I wanted to show you the process I took to adjust the emergency brake because I do use the emergency brake constantly, even on flat surfaces in the garage, just a safety precaution, and I guess I stretched out the cable a bit. Once again, I couldn't find anything about that online either. So I had to push through it myself and figure everything out. Now, the sad part is that I actually took a detailed video of every single step that I took. But unfortunately also I inadvertently erased every bit of it. Boy, I'm so angry about that. Anyway, what I wanted to do is just give a walkthrough and give as detailed advice as I possibly could without actually taking the stuff off. And I'm sure it'll do some help. It's better than having nothing at all. Alright, the way we're going to start off with is you go into the back. And if you see the rear section of the center console here, you see the seam. You actually take a screwdriver and slowly pull apart the seam, just pry it apart. And there are 7 clips that are holding this back piece on. There are 3 clips across the top, 1 on each side in the center, and 1 on each side in the bottom. Once you get that whole piece pulled out, there are 2 brackets, 1 on each side going into the floor, and they hold 10 millimeter bolts. You disconnect those 2 10 millimeter bolts, and then you remove 2 small Phillips screws that are connecting the center console to the side panel, 1 on each side. The side panel actually stays in place when you get the center console out. You don't pull the whole thing out. Underneath there also, you're going to have 3 power cables that you're going to have to disconnect. One of the cables is to the auxiliary power that's inside of this center console. Then there's one for the auxiliary sound connector that's inside the center console also. And the last one is connecting the USB that's inside the center console. Once you get those 3 electrical connections disconnected, everything's up front. This is all you have to do in the back to loosen up everything to get it out. One thing is that these clips that hold the center bracket down, once you get those 2 10 millimeter bolts out and you start pulling back, you'll say, what the hell's holding this thing? Holding this thing, it's not coming apart. What's happening is that clip is slipping under the carpet and getting caught. So you got to make sure that that's on top of the carpet so it'll slide back. After that's done, you got to come to the front. You got to open up the center console, and this lip right here, there's a seam right between the lip here, and you slowly pry that up, and you'll end up prying up this whole center console. The cup holder stays in place, I think. No, the cup holder actually comes up with this also. So you got to slowly pry it up from the sides, both sides, and pop those clips that are holding it down. The cup holder, this whole section comes up, but the gear shift panel here stays down. This just comes up around it. Also, the clips are connecting. All this is one piece also. The coin holder and the other auxiliary jack. Now, when you get this up, you can actually just pry it out of the way and prop it up and just not have to worry about it anymore. But it'd probably be easier if you disconnect 3 more power leads, which are for the heated seats, if you have heated seats inside your vehicle, and like I said, for the auxiliary power jack. Then you can pull that whole panel and put it off to the side. Once you're inside there, you're going to have, again, the same type brackets in the back down at the bottom. And they hold another 2 10 millimeter bolts. You're going to remove those 2 10 millimeter bolts, and then you disconnect 1 power jack, another power cable here, a clip power cable. I'm not sure exactly what that goes to, maybe something to do with the seats. But you disconnect that power cable also, and then this whole section here will slide completely out. And once it's out, you look straight down and you'll see where the brake cable goes to a spring, goes into adjustment knob, and then connects with a bracket to the two separate cables for the front, from the for the two back wheels. And there's a nut there that you can actually, if you have enough slack, you can actually turn by hand that nut and at least tighten up the slack. I chose to do that instead of just tightening it up until it's just a short amount of space between where this starts and where it ends. I chose to just leave it down and then tighten it by hand and just take up all of the slack on it, and that worked out really fine for me. And to put it back together, you just have to follow that same process in reverse. Just make sure you don't forget to reconnect any of those power leads. Okay. Hopefully that'll help out. I'm sorry that I lost the original video showing you all this stuff, but this should help a little bit.